This is Gerald Johan van Waas. Once we hear letters, words with its letters, with its sounds, all these sounds have vibrations, and in a way we associate these vibrations slightly the same as a visualization and associations around these visualizations. These visualizations is another synesthesia effect that we are not very conscious of it, but it exists and we deal with it in a way like we hear a frequency that we can pinpoint in one point, or this frequency is going somewhere, we associate it differently already, or it is vibrating or resonating or giving sound to the whole word, and also that gives us a different perspective. These kind of associations make certain, let's say, sub-associations, so that we associate these letters with certain features. In a way, it is a geometrical behavior that we have there. And not all the points that we hear are fixed points, so that at the end we have a full behavior that we are hearing and that we associate with certain things. So all the words can be derived to behaviors that we unconsciously visualize as well. And we visualize that kind of behavior rooted in a time-space context. And I have a whole method to make that conscious. Let's go to up and under, two words that are supposed to be opposites. And I will also compare as well, like you have that in under. I will also compare that one a bit and explain that one a bit, all based upon that method, which realizes how these focus into 1, 2, or 3 points, and in all the balances that are possible there into 1, 2, 3 variations. We compare them to this method and we will realize all the letters from there. Let's go to up first. Now the first, which I already explained in the previous video, will be associated with a double sense for the It's written as U, but it's pronounced as so it has a kind of double feeling. In other words, U is the first sound that deals with uncertainties, because all letters, all the choices of 1, 2, 3 are not options of yes, I have it, no, I don't. There's also this third option of I'm not sure. So this I'm not so sure takes care that the automated process adapts to the most dominant direction, the most dominant thing. And the U is that first letter in the system of complexity, a point in space basically that focuses upon something, usually mostly something physical, because you focus upon a fixed point. But there's this uncertainty there that we already realized at the K, the previous letter. And this uncertainty is compensated by realizing that, okay, there are things that we do not know yet, the unknowns, like in the U, and there are things that we can follow, or we can base ourselves on the totality of this, like you have a certain parts that we know, other parts are in development. We take all that and we can use it as a center. The is even smaller, more primitive in sound. It's almost like it's almost like the essence of U. If you also write it as U, it's of course with a little bit more emphasis on that undevelopment as well. The sound, like in the, usually, because it's a sound that is quite basic, usually is easily associated with the smallest physical or real element, but it's also dealing with its insignificance, its least important features as well. And it's actually a reference to its full package of its whole physicality and what has been materialized itself, or as material as well, like in mud, for instance. The essence that we have is with the also includes its undevelopedness, and this if you really would design it, because the u as is more like I notice the total package, but I take the smallest element that can represent it, which also includes the undevelopedness, which is surely also used, not just in like in u, you use only or mostly what you want to use, and you use it, like in the u, you use it as a sound u. As you use the smallest thing, but it can be anything of what is useful or less useful. It's representative, like you have material, like in mud. In the n takes out the thing as an element that you will use somewhere. But of course, with also the undevelopedness in it. So the total package of it. And that's why also basically it has that reference also to also the undevelopedness of it. And that's how we use the letter u as a. As up we use this essence, the material or something, you can describe it like that, and move it somewhere. All the arrows that you see at the second level are about arrows, about directions. They are directions usually in time, because you also need some time to get there. And you adapt to it during going there, but you move there by following the directions. It's following the directions. The whole package of the 9 letters that are in the second degree are about timings, about directions. P is that last letter. It's actually the direction that is leading to an end conclusion. It's going somewhere, maybe even somewhere else. So it is usually very easily associated with a pop-up, which I like to use in that perspective. And because all these focuses are possible with directions, you know there are 3 directions: horizontal, vertical, diagonal, in any mathematical sense as well, geometrical sense as well. You have also the 1, 2, 3 focuses, 3 places in points in space into the 1, 2, 3 directions. There are more 1, 2, 3 directions. It's also like you have the 3 directions which you deal with at the border somewhere, and you take out actually the most dominant one as well. So, but it leads to a different context. So I also add that one I have here. Yes, it will lead to somewhere else, and because it starts with a, which is material, which is the materialized essence of what I'm talking about, whatever that is, usually physical, but I could also possibly take the whole thing also up to a different result, to a different place. It starts in space, so I can also take it, thanks to P, to another place, to another point in time as a result. So I take it up. So it is a possibility. It's not an essence that I take the thing itself up as well, but the word itself leaves this possibility intact. It's, if you just focus on focus, you go from the object and suddenly your focus goes up. So when the focus is your subject, the focus goes up, not the object. But if you focus upon the object of the physicality, and you use this with the word up, the thing itself, the whole thing, will go up. Under now, we already know in the context of a longer word. We also emphasize quite easily the minor and undeveloped parts as well, because that will be part of what we going to take out. It's not anymore like we want to take this out. Now it is going to be taken out. It's going to be used in a timed process, all of it, even the incomplete parts. So that's a thing that you have to see. But basically, just the emphasis is just the emphasis on the thing, the abstractness beyond it. It's geometrical. It's a geometric about the focus. It's taking the things from one space to another space. So it is literally, actually, even if you say, okay, let's take something into a time frame, it's moving something from one space to another. That's the thing. And usually, if you take things from one space to another, you come also into the change of direction, and you come to the access point of time processes, as you can see here as well. Will they be accessed? Will they be performed? Is actually less important, because it's about the direction. It's into that direction, and you can do certain things with it. That's the abstractness of letters as well, that you can emphasize it in that way. So move of space is possible as well. It's exactly what it can be. With D, it will be emphasized as well that it's on the level of changing directions. Changing directions, and the changing directions is there in that blue part, in the first part. It's again in space. So yes, let's emphasize that space in und. So it moves in space to another space. It's also at the same time the fourth dimension, which means I need that time for it. But time, you can also say like, okay, I need the concept of time, or I need the concept of change. The change of direction. With the D, it's usually change of direction, change of concept, changing, going towards a different condition. So it's also going towards the connection to a different connection, moving towards that, basically from space. But you use time as well. You use time because you need some time for it, and so on. Especially when is the next letter. Of course, it will have an access to a timed or process, meaning you go towards a changed condition. To change is to change in time, but the is not just time, it's not just change. It also says, okay, let's go to a highlight. We have to have a highlight. You also have to be reminded that every word in an order of letters takes the elements from where it starts from, also to the next letter, and so on, and builds it actually up in logic. And in a certain way, the E or the highlight will also have the characteristics from where we started from und. The is already a dualistic, so already this dualistic nature, this two-folded nature. So if you go to a highlight, yeah, to which highlight will it be? Because in is just a yes point. I want to do something with it, but there are so much undevelopments underneath it. So if you take that up to space, the full picture, and then move it again to actually a different space, which space do I have to take? In a way, the highlight gives a double feeling, because you have the one element of that you want to take out, yes, this is positive, and the points that are under development, so that are not taking out. So the highlights could also, there are also highlights. It's highlights in everything. There's highlights in what you can take out and uplift it to a degree. And the things that are contained within its field of material, of elements that are under development, that are also having their highlight in a kind of yes and no idea. Yes, a highlight of yes, and a highlight of no. a highlight that moved up and a highlight that didn't succeed to move up, like in an underdeveloped state. The only way how you can imagine that as a spatial reference is actually how under works, and I will explain you. There's this moved up part or region of space, the number 1 there, that I like, that I want to take out, and the not moved up part or region of space, and it also says moves to a different space. I even have, in a way here, 2 different spaces, part of the same thing. And if you really design this based upon what we also know of the associations of letters, there is this lifted up parts, lifted up from space, and the things that are not lifted up or not yet lifted up from space. They are still within its own space that is not lifted up, where you can see that in that there, while the nut will be associated with the d that moved up space to somewhere else, which succeeded. And the is that highlight that can always be a success, but will not go to the success. It's that goes mostly to the dominant underdeveloped part. If you do that, if you have a viewpoint onto the underdeveloped part and take that as a highlight and into from a different space, you also see that you also have the focus of that contrast of that. You also have that space of underdevelopment which is not uplifted out of space. So you have that space uplifted and not uplifted. With the R we will connect it all, and we will connect it better. We'll make one logic from it, so that we'll make it also more logic, how we can see the differences from one point of view to the other. So we have how this idea connects. This idea also connects to 2 different contrasts. The underdeveloped part from underneath, which is also a contrast to the upward. We know that. So under only exists by almost exists on its own, but under only exists by contrast. You can only have an under when you also have an upper layer there as well. Here's the up, and the underneath was the under. I hope this brought you closer to the meaningfulness of letter combinations in words, and that you could understand also its separate letters and its combinations of letters better thanks to this video. I hope you enjoyed. Some books to prepare you, some website there. There's some more demonstrations in previous videos, which you can find also on Sound Info, and there's a Facebook page if you like. Thanks again for watching. Bye.